Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, it's 4 o'clock. This is Adam talking, and you're going to be seeing Bradley in a minute, but welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. We've also got Marco and Hernan with us today. So we've got a full house, and we're not going to waste any time. I think Bradley's got a few announcements, and then we're going to get right into the questions.
Hey guys, hey Hernan, hey Marco, hey Adam.
Hey Bradley.
Hey Bradley, how's it going?
Good, man. Good to have you guys on. As Adam said, it's Hump Day, episode 19. It is March 11th, 2015. Glad to have everybody here. Don't have a whole lot of questions posted ahead of time, which I'm surprised after last week because we left a bunch of you hanging last week at the 1 hour mark, so I'm surprised we didn't get a lot more. Partly is probably my fault because I forgot to swap out the evergreen link that is the one that says semanticmastery.com/hump day. I actually didn't swap that out until this morning. So many of you probably were trying that link and going to last week's page instead of this week's page, and that's my fault. There's so many details to keep track of with all this, but anyways, guys, I don't want to spend a lot of time with announcements because there are some questions, and also today starts Masterclass, IFTTT SEO Masterclass, which is I'm going to kind of give a brief overview of what that is again. Because that starts today, and it's not too late to get in now. The price isn't going to go up or anything, at least not now. Maybe in several weeks it will. But what we're doing is we're going to be teaching with a weekly webinar series. It's going to be an hour long from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. every single Wednesday, and we've got a schedule set up now for at least the next 10 weeks, which will probably end up carrying over to 12 to 14 weeks anyways, just to cover the content that I've got scheduled out now. Some of the topics are going to require more than just 1 hour to cover, and I know that already going into it. But we've got like 10 lessons scheduled, let's put it that way, that is for how to create a real business out of the IFTTT SEO. Okay, so not all of you are members of IFTTT SEO Academy, but you should be. And the IFTTT SEO Masterclass is essentially just how you can monetize those networks and create a real SEO business using that as the foundation. And again, that's what I have built my agency on, as the foundation is IFTTT SEO. Of course, I do a lot more than just that, but that is really truly the very foundation of my business. So I want to go into that through the survey that we had taken from you guys. We got a ton of questions about how to monetize the networks, how to prospect for clients, on-page YouTube SEO, just so many different questions that we got that weren't covered in the initial course, and that's why we put this together. So I kind of wanted to pitch that a little bit to you guys, let you know that it's not too late. You can check that out at iftttseo.com/masterclass. And Adam, I'm going to drop this link in our little group chat for you.
Sounds good, and I'll post it right up there. I was getting ready to grab it.
And like I said, we start today. Today's going to be like an overview and talking about how to select a particular model for your business, one that speaks to you. In other words, one that you would be excited about or that interests you the most. And we're going to cover several different types of ways to monetize these IFTTT SEO networks. Okay, there's multiple ways to monetize these, and we're going to talk about all those today. And then talk about how you should be selecting one that interests you the most and then sticking with that and literally focusing. And so we're going to cover that today. Next week we actually start the individual lessons. So, like I said, it's not too late to get in now. I want to make this clear up front that anybody that joins beyond next week, okay, so beyond next Wednesday, the webinar archives or the replays, recordings from each week are going to be dripped out on a weekly basis, okay, because that's only fair to members that started up front. Now, anybody that joins beyond next Wednesday will have access to the live events every week, but the recordings will be dripped out at the same rate as if you had signed up today or any time before today or before next week, which would means they will be delivered on a 7-day basis. So each time, every 7 days, a new recording will be released to you. And again, that's only fair for those that had signed up in the beginning. Okay, plus part of the reason we do that is to keep it fair, number one. Number two is because it gives you time to actually take action on the lessons learned. I think that's important. There's too many people buy, and I know I've done it myself, so I'm not, I'm not saying I'm above this, but I've bought courses before and gone through the entire courses and consumed everything and not implemented all of the steps. And then when it doesn't produce results for me, whose fault is that? Is it my fault or is it the course's fault? Well, most likely it's my fault because I didn't implement all the steps because I went through it and tried to, try to consume all the content at once, and then you forget stuff or you don't implement stuff. So by dripping the content out on a weekly basis, I've got these lessons scheduled out the way that I do because it's kind of like building blocks. You do this, and then next, it's kind of a linear fashion, and so I think it's important that it gives you 7 days where you don't get additional content to take action on it. And if you choose not to take action on that previous lesson anyways, well, then it's your own fault if you're not making progress. All right, so I just kind of wanted to cover that a little bit today. Before we get into questions, I got one other thing I want to talk about. Well, actually two things, I guess. Number one, the networks, Done For You networks, we launched that last week. I'm going to drop this in chat for you again, Adam. This is networks.iftttseo.com. We are a little bit behind schedule. I'm not going to lie, guys. We had about 20 orders initially, and so we're running. I mentioned last week that we'd be about 7 to 10 days. Right now we're at 10 days, and a couple of you are probably going to go to 12 days or so, and I apologize for that. Maybe we'll cut you a break on the next ones or something like that. We'll try to make it up to you somehow, but we are a little bit behind schedule. We are streamlining the process. We're working out bugs. We knew this was going to happen. That's why we asked you to be patient up front. However, don't discourage you. I don't want that to discourage you from ordering from us, because we are probably going to be bringing on a couple more VAs now to handle the workload, which means our turnaround times, our delivery times will improve. Okay, they will get better. So just bear with us. Guys, trust me, it'll be worth the wait, and you don't have to do it yourself. You know what I mean? So just bear with us while we get the rest of this put together and streamlined for you. Some of you that have already placed your orders, deliveries will start tomorrow on what was ordered last week. So that puts us at 8 days, because we started last week. But there will be a couple of you that probably won't, that ordered last Wednesday, that probably won't get final delivery until Monday, which will put you just past 10 days. I do apologize for that, but trust me, guys, it'll be worth the wait. Okay. Lastly, before we get into questions, is there was a product released today. And guys, we don't typically promote other people's products here, and this is certainly not something that you have to have. But a lot of you have asked about setting up, in monetizing your business. A lot of you don't have your own website set up yet for bringing clients in, or like a portfolio site where you can show people work that you've already done, that you can use as kind of like a lead magnet site for yourself. And there's a product that was launched today. It's only $17 right now, as far as I know. At least it was earlier, like within the last hour. I'm going to drop this in chat for you, Adam, if you can post this on the event page, please. But it's called Video Portfolio. It looks pretty cool. I have not tested it because it's just launched. But it's a really nice looking site, and it's specifically geared. It's a theme, a WordPress theme, and I think it has some integrations, like some social media stuff and some like PayPal and things like that, where you can actually direct potential clients or prospects to actually purchase your services if you're going to be offering SEO, video SEO services. And it looks like a really nice looking theme for what it is that we do. So because of the price, that's why I decided to share this with you guys, because I thought this was something worth looking at while it's still cheap or inexpensive. Again, I have not tested it, so I can't vouch for it. But if you take a look at it, let's scroll down to the bottom. Yeah, it's right now it's $17 for essentially like a developer's license. So this is just again, this is not, I'm not promoting, like requiring you guys to buy this. I just think it's probably pretty cool for those of you that don't have something set up yet. And if you're looking to drive potential prospects back to like a portfolio site, this might be a pretty good solution for you. I think it looks really sharp. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys before we get into questions. Okay, that said, let me jump over to the events page and we'll start answering questions. Okay, Scott Rogers, he's got lots of questions this time, and that's great. Glad to have you here, Scott. And I actually looked at some of these questions that you posted several, over the last couple days, so I could prepare for you. And you asked about, I noticed on a YouTube playlist containing, for example, 4 videos, that each different video has a different URL. Start from here. Right. But the playlist stops at bottom video. Is there a method when creating a playlist that it could loop the entire list no matter where the video starts? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure about that, Scott. I've never tried. I assumed that it did loop.
Sorry, Bradley, if I can chime in on this. I don't know about the loop, but there is an option where you can both add automatically new videos to a playlist based on a keyword on the title, and also you can add whatever new video you're adding to that playlist to be the first video
Yeah, that's
of
in
the
playlist
playlist.
settings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So where you're in YouTube and you choose the playlist setting, you can choose. Let's say that you are syndicating out a video, and you have syndicated out the playlist, because usually I syndicate the iframe, for the playlist. So every time you upload a new video based on keywords, it will automatically add that to the playlist, and will also add the new video to the top of the playlist. So that video will be syndicated out through many properties.
Right.
And you can also share the video, and when embedding the video, when it's part of the property, when you navigate to the video inside of the playlist, you can choose to embed that video or to share that video and the entire playlist. But the playlist will start from that particular video and not from the original first video of the playlist. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And what's interesting is the question, the follow-up to that was, and since each video starting point in the playlist has a different URL, how can this be utilized in video SEO? And it's a great question, Scott. In fact, that is the exact answer, or for those of you that purchased YouTube Silo Academy, that's a cue for you, Adam. For YouTube Silo Academy, it's only $7, guys, but we teach out Silo YouTube channels with playlists. And the webinar that I've been promising for those of you that purchased that, or the additional training video, it's going to be one or the other, was specifically about that, Scott, how you can use what you just mentioned for SEO. So I can kind of let the cat out of the bag here briefly, and I'll go into more detail with you guys inside of Video SEO Academy. I'm sorry, YouTube Silo Academy. I'll go into more detail about it there, but how can you use that for video SEO? Well, that's very powerful because, in fact, let's go in here and I'll open up. Let's see one of my playlists. I wonder if I can switch channels while I'm in a Hangout. I don't know if that's going to let me do it, but we'll try it. All right, so we've got How to SEO. This is the playlist that I put together, guys, for that training. Essentially, that was what I built with that training, and then I did an update video in the Google Plus group, the free group, guys, last week for Roland. He had asked a question about this, so I put an update video about building this out because I've got this one siloed out with the mono silo structure. And again, that's mentioned. Each different type of silo structure is in YouTube Silo Academy, but if we take a look at the playlist settings, I'm sorry, the share link right here, and we copy this, and I'll put this in a notepad file and blow it up a little bit. And we're going to take, this is the main playlist URL. Okay, let me blow this up so you guys can see this a little bit better. Okay. You guys are seeing my full screen, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is what's called the playlist index page, right? So essentially this is like a blog index page, right? It's showing the playlist and all of the links, all of the videos within the playlist. So it's like an index page, okay? But now if we take a look and we click it, this is the top of the silo, and again in YouTube Silo Academy we talk about, these are all supporting articles here, or supporting videos for YouTube silos. But if we click on this and we open this up, let me pause the video. I'm going to come down here and click on the share button, and we're going to copy, and you see what Scott was talking about where it says share with the playlist starting from current video, okay? So if we copy this URL and we come back over here and we paste it in, you'll see that this is a different URL than what the index URL is, right? So what happens is if we take this URL, and let's just jump over to Firefox real quick, okay? It's a clean browser. If we take this video URL, or this playlist URL, and we paste it in here, you'll see that indeed the video starts, let me pause it again, the video starts with video number 1, How to SEO, right? So likewise, if we go to the next video in the series, we'll start with this one, and we'll hit the share button. We'll grab the video or the playlist URL from here, and we'll take a look at that. It's going to be the same thing, right? It's going to be a different URL, so it's going to actually open up with the second video playing. So each one of these guys throughout the entire silo, if you collect each one of these URLs, you can build links to each one of these. And see, the idea here is these are all unique targets, number one, okay? So each one of these could be a different point with which you build additional links to, okay? Plus, if you were doing like blog posts or something like that, you could you could syndicate these out across IFTTT networks individually, as from different starting points, because they're each unique URLs. All right. So all that can add, and then what's interesting is when you take a look at the structure of the playlist itself, you can see that this is a link to back to the index page. Okay. Then you've got a link to your channel here, right? So if you're building, and then there's links to each one of the additional videos. So if you're building links to each one of these URLs, you've got all these different places where you're funneling, you're pushing additional juice throughout your entire channel through the playlist. Here's the channel link, right? And then through the individual videos within the playlist. So it's just a great way to beef up or boost your playlist as a whole by targeting each one of these individual playlist URLs. That's number one, right? Number two is the individual videos itself. Now remember, right here, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's kind of small in Firefox, but just where this ampersand is, if you were to clear that part of the URL and hit return or enter, it's going to bring you into just the single video, and that's an awful picture. But it's going to bring you just into the single video URL. Well, that's typically what's going to be syndicated out across your networks when you first upload the video or live stream it or whatever, right? So, but again, you build links to this too, and so now you've got. Now remember, this is the how-to SEO playlist, right? Which was what this URL here was for the playlist URL. But now, if we were to copy this URL here, and this is the one that was originally probably syndicated anyways when you uploaded your video or streamed it, whichever it may be, you've now got two URLs to the same video, except this top one here has the playlist player on the side, which also has a link to the channel and everything else. So essentially you've got two links for each video. Now that's just for if you're building links directly to, let's see, Sherman is jumping in on a chat in the middle of a Sherman, ask your questions, buddy, on the events page, please. Anyways, that's if you're just building links to the URLs. What's interesting here is that, and again, I'm not going to go into any more depth than what I am just now about this because we're going to talk about this more in the. I don't know if Adam, can you hit Sherman up?
Yeah, I'll do something. I'm also doing support ticket for somebody else.
Maybe Marco or Anand could hit him up if you guys have got direct access to.
Yeah, no, I got him. I'll shoot him something real quick.
Okay. So also the embed. Okay, that was just sharing the URL, but the same thing can be done with the embed, guys, and that's what I think Hernan was getting at. You can take the embed code and you can embed the let's talk about this. When we talk about it with the IFTTT SEO Academy, we talk about if you're going to be using a YouTube channel as your money site, right? So that's your main, that's what you're going to monetize originally. I always talk about when you found a winner and you decided that you're going to get serious about it, that you build a companion website, okay? So now think about this. If you're siloing out your playlists properly, then shouldn't you also silo your website too? Of course you could. Of course you should, right? So what about on each mirrored or corresponding page on your website that's built into silo structure, if you embed the playlist with the proper video as the starting point of the playlist on that page, right? So now you've got a playlist silo. So let's go back to the index page for a minute, okay? This is the index page. So what if you set up a how-to, in this case, a how-to SEO silo on your website, and then you have your supporting articles, which would be like your child pages or your posts, depending on whether you're using complex or simple silo structure, right? Guys, I don't want to get too confusing here, but either way, these are going to be supporting articles on your website. And each one of these will have its own page or post, okay? Well, then you grab the embed code, and you put the embed code for the full playlist on the silo landing page on your website, but then for each supporting article you grab the embed code with it starting at that particular video and you embed that on there too. So now you're recycling link juice, guys. Now you're recycling it through the silo of your website and the playlist silo that you've set up in your channel. You see how powerful that is? And you're targeting the proper keyword on each page of your site because you've selected that as your starting point, but you're also passing the relevance of the entire silo to that page on your site. And likewise, you're passing the entire relevance of the silo from your website to the playlist. You see how powerful that is? It's like you're multiplying your results, and it's very, very powerful. So again, that's kind of what we're going to get into with the additional training video or the webinar. If we get enough people, like we really haven't pushed YouTube Silo Academy, guys, and I've just been waiting for us to hit a certain number before I do a webinar on that, so that I can answer questions and stuff too, because I don't want to have to do it more than once. It's a $7 product, you know what I mean? So, but if I'm either going to do an additional training video on it or do a webinar specifically on this. So I don't want to give too much away now, but I hope you guys understand it, how powerful you can get with these playlist silos as well, especially when you add them to a website. Okay. Hope that answers that question. Great question, Scott. I knew you were going to pull it out of me. Okay. Sky Rogers also asked, is it good to use the Google Shortener when needed? Give Google the love. I am thinking for Twitter content. And what's your thoughts on Friends+Me? It looks like it can syndicate to multiple accounts within the same Web2 property. In other words, multiple Twitter accounts or multiple Tumblers, etc. Okay, first of all, Google Shortener. Yes, guys. If you know how to use Google Shortener, which is goo.gl, for those of you that are unfamiliar with it, it's very much like Bitly or something like that, except it's what? It's a Google property. It's a Google URL shortener. It's goo.gl. If you know how to use it properly, it can be very, very powerful. If you're using it, I don't recommend using it for spam stuff because it's a Google property, right? So you got to be careful with it. Like if you're using it for your money site, but if you're like using it to shorten, absolutely, Scott. We talk a lot about that and how to use Google goo.gl inside the mastermind. So you're on the right track, buddy. It is definitely worth using if you're doing it properly. So yes, give Google the love. As far as Friends+Me, I had never even heard of that until you posted that. So I went and looked it up in Google, and I'm going to post the link to you, Adam, in the group chat. If you want to post this on the events page,
Sure.
And we'll go open that up as well. It looks really cool. Their site looks great, by the way. I think this is a sharp-looking site. But if you take a look at this and you look at how it works, it tells what it is. I had to look at this prior to this Hangout, guys, just to see what it does. And it's cool because essentially what it'll do is it will take your Google Plus posts, whether it's from a page or I think it might even work for your personal profile too. I'm sure it probably would. And it will allow you to re-syndicate that to other places, and these are the supported destination networks here. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Tumblr, and app.net, right? So essentially you could be syndicating your content from IFTTT to Google Plus via Buffer, right? If all of you that have taken the course, you know that. There's not a direct syndication. It has to go through Buffer first. And Buffer is actually what posts to Google Plus pages, not profiles, just pages. But then you can connect Friends+Me to your page, and then you have your page re-syndicate that content back out to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Tumblr, and app.net. And from what I can gather from, because I have not played with this myself, it looks cool though, and from what I can see what Scott is mentioning here, that we could probably hook up additional accounts, not just one set. So you could probably syndicate to multiple account sets from the same point. So this looks really cool. There is another service that I know that does something very similar to it, and it's called deliverit.it, and I probably have it wrong. No, that's probably it. Let's see. Okay, dlvr.it. I will paste this in the group chat for you, Adam, to put on the events page as well. I'm sorry if I'm working you to death today. This is another application that will do something. I believe this is paid as well, but this is something that can do something very similar where you can set up additional networks, so you can syndicate like initially with IFTTT, and then you can set up additional syndications. So they're basically second-tier syndications. And you can do it with IFTTT as well, guys. But if you want to switch it up and you want, remember IFTTT is free. But if you want to check out some of these other syndication type applications, you certainly can and get creative with it. Okay, you could be as creative as you want. Again, these are both paid, so there are free. IFTTT is free, but you can set up some pretty cool tiered structures using other properties that might not be available in IFTTT, or at least that have different features that IFTTT does not. If that makes sense. Also, there's Hootsuite. Hootsuite can do something like that too. I don't know if Hootsuite still has a free option. They used to. I don't know if they still do or not. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think they do, but it's it's
3 profiles.
limited.
Yep. Yep, and it only allows 2 posts per day, 2 RSS feeds, that sort of thing. But Hootsuite's another one, guys, that you could hook up to where you could syndicate. Like you could set up second-tier syndications from your IFTTT networks with Hootsuite as well. Okay, and it's RSS driven, and so is Deliverate. I don't know. It looks like Friends+Me is specifically driven from Google Plus as the source or the trigger. But with Deliverate and Hootsuite, you can use RSS feeds, so you can really get creative with what you want to do. And again, guys, you can set up tiered structures with IFTTT. Of course you can. You know that already. So pretty cool. Thanks for pointing this out to me. I probably will end up playing with it, Scott. I just haven't had a chance to yet. Okay, Scott. Once again, is it good to use? No, I'm sorry. I already answered that one. Med. I'm just going to call you Med. He says, "Hi guys. I'm a beginner on all this. I think I'm the younger one here. Happy to be with you guys. Thanks for accepting me." He says the videos are awesome. Hope you guys have success. By the way, if someone can help me by some advices on things to help me where I can start, I would be so grateful. Yeah, follow the Hump Day Hangouts. They don't cost a dime. If you want to learn more about building networks and all that, purchase IFTTT SEO Academy. Reach out to some of the people you see interacting on these events pages. Maybe some people would be glad to help you. I'm sure they would. If you wanted more like structured training on an ongoing basis, I would suggest joining the IFTTT SEO Masterclass, which again begins today. It's only $37 a month, guys. That's dirt cheap considering the amount of content that you're going to get. Okay, in my opinion. So and again, for just straight free content, just attend these every Wednesday, guys. Okay. Scott says, when you season a persona account, do you just post a status type of paragraph? No links or photos? What procedure should I follow to season the entire ring? Visit each property and post something manually and observing the Firefox routine of cleaning and matching time zone of what the persona is. Scott, no, you don't have to get that crazy with it. Typically, remember, I have outsourcers that build my networks for me, and you guys do too now if you're buying the networks that are done for you. And we will post to those networks for you the seed content. And just like the training shows, we go out and we find a very popular article. We'll use BuzzSumo to find it, and then we'll, it just related about whatever the ring is, or that network is themed for. It can be broad, it's fine, as long as it's in the same ballpark. And we'll grab just an article that's popular and just repost it with an attribution link back to the source. Okay, and then we also will find another post of similar content on the same platform. So, for example, if you're reposting your seed content to Blogger, and you go find a really popular article with a lot of social signals, and you repost that, you put an attribution link back to the source where you found the article, okay, and then you also find a related article on Blogger that's of the same, it's in the same type of content in anyways, same theme, and then you link to that. And that's it. I mean, I don't care if it has outbound links and if it has photos and images and all that. In fact, I would encourage that you do so. But really, the only 3 that we have to seed are the 3 blogging accounts, which would be Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress. And the rest of them I don't really worry about, and I've not really ever had an issue. But that's all I do. And once we've posted those seed content, those and that's what we call seasoning the network. We just let it sit for a couple days before we start auto syndicating content to it. That's it. Because if there's going to be a problem with an account getting terminated, it's going to happen within the first 72 hours, generally. Not always, but generally. Okay? So by posting the content to it, if it's going to get terminated, you'll know before you start syndicating, because and that's why I'll usually let it sit about 2 or 3 days before I start auto posting. All right, and then I can start auto posting, and that should cover it. As far as Scott says, visiting each property and posting something manually. Yeah, it's just those 3 though that I typically do it for, and then observing the Firefox routine of cleaning and matching time zones of where the persona is. But see, that's why if you do that on the setup, Scott, then you only have to do it once. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Remember, guys, I've talked about this many, many times, which, by the way, this might be something that you want to star Adam in the timestamps, because we do get asked this question all the time. So this could be on the FAQ page that we're putting together. But once you've signed, like when you're setting up the accounts and you're using a proxy and you match the time zones, again, this is covered in the training, but you go to whoer.net, make sure that your time zones match and everything. That's always just for setting up the accounts, for creating the accounts, verifying the accounts, setting them up initially, and that's when you should do your post anyways. Because I don't keep track of which proxy I used when I created the account. Once the accounts are set up, I don't care. I'll log into them through my own IP. It's just on the account creation side that I really care. Once it's been set up, I don't really care anymore. Some of you that are extremely paranoid, if you want to use a proxy and keep track of it and always log back in, by all means do it. I'm not saying you don't have, you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I don't, because it's too much to keep track of, especially when you've got dozens and hundreds of networks. I just don't care. It's just to get them set up. Okay, once they're set up, then I can just log in with my own IP, or typically I don't even log in. I just, if I have a problem, I have one of my virtual assistants fix it, and they will just log in with any US proxy at that point. Okay, so if you post when you actually set the account up, you don't have to worry about matching time zones and all that, because it should already be done. That makes sense. All right, keep moving. JP says, hey, Adam, I signed up for Masterclass and have not received any. Oh, okay, Adam, I'm sure you got that, right?
Yeah, just anybody listen. Mike, JP, and Ken, you guys should be sorted out, but just hit me up via support if you have any more issues.
Yeah, guys, hit support up. If you signed up last minute and you don't get to make the live event today, it will be recorded and it will be posted in the membership site. Okay, you guys will have access to that. Like I said, anybody that joins from today all the way up until next Wednesday, then you guys will have immediate access to the replays, as soon as they're posted. There will be no delay, no drip content for you guys. Okay, but anybody that joins after next week, it'll be dripped out at the same rate that we hold the classes. That makes sense. Sandra, hello all. Got to get me some coffee. Be right back. Awesome, Sandra. She's great. I like Sandy. JP, okay, you answered that. How do we join? Adita says, how do we join? The masterclass, go to iftttseo.com/masterclass, and we'll try to get you in before the class starts today, guys. Again, if it's last minute and we don't get you in, please accept our apologies. But you'll have access to the replay, which will be posted within 24 hours inside the members area anyways, and you'll be able to attend live next week. Okay? Jaunty. Hey, Jaunty. He's been MIA, missing in action for a while. He disappeared on us for a while. I was worried about you. He says, hi, Bradley. Just want to say hi. Dropped out for a while, but now I'm back and looking to get stuck in. That's awesome. Good to have you back, Jaunty. Brian says, how can I improve my on-page SEO? I feel that if I better my on-page, my site will go from number 10 to 13 to number 3 to 5. Thanks for the help. Yeah, you should always start with that, Brian. Always start with on-page before you worry about off-page SEO, because if you have proper on-page SEO, then you will take a fraction of the off-page SEO work to rank your site that it would if you had poor on-page SEO. Does that make sense? So always start with that. And I know, guys, that IFTTT SEO Academy is an off-page SEO network building training. It had nothing to do with on-page. And we will cover some on-page stuff in the masterclass when as it applies to YouTube, not necessarily on-page website stuff, because that's beyond the scope of what that training course is. However, that said, you guys know we have youtube.silo.academy. Well, silo.academy is our domain. We will be also producing another training course called Website Silo Academy, because we've got a ton of questions from you guys. We had a thread in the Facebook group from last week that got pretty intense, and so we know that there's a lot of questions about proper silo structure within sites. So we're going to actually do a separate training on that as well. It won't be real expensive, but it'll be very in-depth. Okay, so we'll get into website silo architecture. That will help. But Brian, without a doubt, what you want to do is figure out, I would suggest, possibly thinking about joining the mastermind, or just asking questions in our groups. We've got the Facebook group and also the Google Plus group for SEO tutorials and case studies for semantic mastery. We got both of those. You can ask some questions in there and get some feedback from us as well as other members. okay, about on-page stuff. If you have specific questions, we could help you out there.
Yeah, just to reiterate on that, like Bradley finished up with, Brian, if you have some specific questions, that's going to definitely help because that's a big topic.
Yeah,
But
very
if you can
broad.
break it down, and if you just want the pointers on, hey, if you're not sure where to start, that's good too. So just yeah, give us and the group something more to work with there, and we'll be happy to help.
Yeah, and like just to reinforce that, that's without a doubt, you should always take care of on-page factors first before you worry about a bunch of link building and stuff like that. Without a doubt, that's where you should start, because then you will get the most effect from the least amount of off-page work, right? That's important. So that's a great question, but a very, very broad. So we need to start breaking that question down into bite-sized pieces that we can help you with. Okay. Okay, JP sent in a support ticket. That's great. What JP says, would you please go over a branded persona? For example, do we set up Gmail and Google Plus as a person and then all the other sites as the brand? Well, yes, JP, that's a great question. But what I would suggest doing is that if it's a brand or if it's a niche that you are already an authority in yourself, you personally, then you can tie in the branded account. So you create a Google Plus page, right, or in a YouTube channel. In fact, if you create the YouTube channel, it will create the page for you, the corresponding Google Plus page at the same time, and that's in the training as well. But if it's something that you're an authority in, then you can be the owner and have those pages underneath your own main account. If it's something unrelated to what you're already, like, so, as marketers, guys, we promote anything, right? Like, whatever's going to make us money, we promote. So we don't necessarily have to be an authority in that subject. But if you're going to be doing that, then what I suggest doing is, yes, you create a new Google profile, right, using a persona, and then you create the page and the YouTube channel underneath that profile as part of that profile. Because remember, you have to create a page and a channel with a profile as the parent, right, as the owner. You can't just arbitrarily create a business page. You have to have a profile attached to it, right? So I would suggest setting up a profile for like stuff that you're not that you're not an authority in, creating your YouTube channel and your page underneath that profile. And we've talked about this on a number of Hump Day Hangouts. So if you just watched the Hump Day Hangout replays from like the last 4 weeks, you'll see almost every single week we've talked about this. So anyways, you can just catch the replays. The YouTube playlist URL is always in the description of each one of these events so that you can catch all of the replays in one place. Anyways, what I would suggest doing is setting up the Google Plus pages and YouTube channels under the persona and then adding yourself as a manager. Okay, and that way you can still access those through your main Google account, but you're not the owner of them, your personas are. So it kind of sets like a separation. It doesn't dilute your authority in whatever you are an authority in, just the same as it wouldn't dilute the authority that you build for that persona, if that makes sense. So as far as setting up the brand, yeah, you set up the persona, and the persona is just the owner of the page, right? But then the page itself is going to be the brand. You're going to name the Google Plus page. Remember, there's a difference between profiles and pages. They're two different things. Okay, so you're going to name the page after the business, and all of the rest of the accounts, the Twitter and Tumblr and WordPress and Blogger and Delicious and Digo, all of that will be branded after the business name or the website name if you're branding a website. If that makes sense. Okay, and so all of that's going to be tied together. The brand will be consistent. There will just be a persona that actually owns the page and the channel, if that makes sense.
Sorry, Bradley, just to chime in a little bit of what you say, and this is a good approach not only for YouTube and Gmail, but also for webmasters, analytics, whatever you're doing, because it does sound or it does look suspicious if you have everything under one profile,
That's right.
If you're like me, that you manage several properties or several projects that are not entirely related, it does look suspicious. But if you're invited to manage, that's a whole different story. You can be a consultant, kind of approach, so that you're managing, you're not the owner. So that applies also for webmasters, analytics, and whatever you're trying to do online.
That's absolutely right, guys. And that's what, if you build a channel around a particular industry or theme, and then you create a corresponding or a companion website, which is what we were just talking about at the beginning of this Hangout again, then I suggest that you set up Google Webmaster Tools through that persona's account, right? So everything is tied in. It's a 1-to-1 ratio for every website that I have out there and every website that I manage. So lead gen sites plus client sites plus PBN sites, they all have a 1-to-1 ratio. They've got one Google account that is the owner, so to speak, where that Google Webmaster Tools is connected, the analytics is connected, the Google Plus page is connected. Now, I might manage dozens of accounts in my own Bradley Benner Google Webmaster Tools, but I'm just a manager. I've just been added as a manager. They're not owned by me. Does that make sense? It's a way to delineate exactly what Hernan just said. It's a way to delineate, keep things clean. Okay. And again, like I said, just go through the replays from the last several weeks. And there's timestamps, guys, in the descriptions of these replays. So if you go to watch a replay and you go look at the video description underneath, you'll see timestamps, and you can click on the timestamp, and it will take with the text next to it. You click on the timestamp, and it will take you directly to that part of the video. All right, so you don't have to watch the full 1-hour webinar. Okay, Monique says, should we ever be rightly scared of granting certain permissions to any of the accounts we need to authorize for IFTTT network accounts? Are there certain permissions that we should be wary of if we set them both inside IFTTT and throughout the net? Have you vetted all of the account permission requests for our security? Thanks, Bradley. I am listening. Yeah, I've never had any issues. I mean, I've got, I think, over 600 networks now, and I've never had an issue with, security. So I've not had a problem with it. I can't imagine where the problem would arise. I mean, there's always hacking stuff that could happen, but I have never had a problem with allowing third-party apps to access my accounts, if that's what you're asking. Good question, though. Online Yeti says, please put the video silo course URL up. It's in, guys, everything that we've talked about, yeah, and I see Hernan put it there. It's right here on the events page, guys. If you don't see it, just scroll down through, and the page will reload at the bottom, and you'll find everything that we've talked about right here on the events page. Ken Roberts, he says, I purchased IFTTT 10 minutes ago. Hasn't received the email. Yeah, like I said, guys, we'll get you squared away, I promise.
Yep, he's good. Okay.
Nice, so obvious yet hidden until you say it. Mirroring the website for your YouTube silo. Yeah, that's great, Sandy. I'm telling you, that's very, very powerful. Guys, if you're going to get serious about your video syndication or your video SEO business, then you should have a companion website for each channel that you build, and then you can silo your websites out the same, and then you mirror the two, and you share. It passes relevance between the two. It's very, very powerful. And we're going to wrap this up very shortly because we've got to get prepared for the next for the masterclass, the first masterclass. Braulio, where do you keep yourself up to date on the latest SEO tools and releases? Is there a website where you regularly look that up? Yeah, JVZoo. JVZoo is where we go because that's where all the product launches go through. To be honest, I don't test as many products as I used to because I found that the majority of them are garbage. Like honestly, every now, like I'm real selective as to what I test now. And typically, and that's part of the reason, guys, we don't promote a lot of stuff to you guys because the problem is that people promote stuff without even getting a chance to test them, and usually the launch periods on other products are very short, right? They're 3 days or 7 days. So unless we were to request JV access like way in advance, like so that we could get a review copy and stuff, and honestly, we just don't have the time. I don't personally have the time to do that. So typically what I'll do is wait until a product comes out and was released, and then I'll purchase it and I'll test it, and then I'll recommend it if it's worthwhile. And a lot of the times it's closed by then. The offer is closed. So, like I said, I typically will just go to JVZoo and see what's coming out, and every now and then I'll find something that looks valuable and I'll test it myself, and if it's still available, then I'll recommend it to you guys. Or if it's an evergreen product like ours is, right? IFTTT SEO Academy, we didn't go through that whole launch crap because I think it's valuable enough to be evergreen. But that's what I would suggest, probably. Hey, Hernan or Adam and Marco, do you guys have any other places you go to look?
Semanticmastery.com.
That's the only place I look.
Yeah.
Best answer, but what's the Muncheye? Isn't that it?
Muncheye is more for
yeah, it's more JV, but you can also see stuff coming up ahead of time. That's less SEO and more product based, though. So.
Yeah, it's mainly product based stuff, but there's SEO products there. But yeah, Muncheye .com. That's where you can look for, if you're looking to do affiliate promotions and stuff too, that's a good place to go. So, all right.
Hey, Bradley, real quick, this is slightly off topic for this webinar, but I've gotten several people asking, especially if they joined recently. I believe you sent out an email to Masterclass members today with the webinar link, right?
I did. Yeah.
So we're going to need to post something before it starts in the members area so that everyone who's getting in just in the last hour or a couple
I
hours.
didn't think to do that. What an ingenious idea. Yeah, guys, we're going to wrap this up in about like 5 to 7 minutes tops. And then what I'll do is I'll jump into the Masterclass members area, which is the membership site right now that's pretty much bare, guys, other than the welcome video, because we're going to start the content today, right? But I'll post a link to the events page. It's a Google event page just like this, okay? But it's only going to be available to those of you that signed up. So I'll post that inside the members area. Guys, just log into the Masterclass members area, and you'll see that link in, you know, five minutes or so before the hour, okay? So like I said, we'll wrap this up in about 5 minutes, guys, and then I'll get that posted, and then we'll start sharp. Like I said, don't worry about if you guys come in a little bit late or something. It's going to be recorded. You guys will get the recordings as well, okay? And it's content for 45 minutes, Q&A for 15 minutes. All right, so don't worry about it. You'll get the content, but we'll get it to you as soon as we can. We're going to wrap this up, guys. JP says we have real estate social media clients. We have real estate social media clients that we have been working with for a long time. I'm trying to wrap my mind around setting up everything correctly with IFTTT ring and benefit to our clients. We do not spam stuff for them. It is real quality content. What I'm worried about, is there any chance of the personas on all the sites to ever cause them to be slapped by Google? No, because guys, that's the thing about what we do, guys. It's the content it's white hat, right? We're setting up syndication networks of all really high authority, high traffic, very popular, high domain authority, Web 2.0 and social media accounts. Like the heavy hitters plus a few others, right? And all we're doing is we're syndicating content. It can be original, great content. In fact, I recommend that your content be good content, not spam stuff. Okay? Your spam stuff is not the way. There is places to use spam, but it's not at tier 1. Trust me. It's like at tier 3 and beyond. All right? So we try to syndicate good content out to our networks from one location. So how would you benefit, JP? Well, listen. If you've got a client and you set up an IFTTT network with essentially 15 properties around them, and then with the live stream sites it's about 22 properties, all you need to do to populate content across all of them is publish content to one location, whether it's a YouTube channel or your main money site blog, right? Either way, all you need to do is produce content in one location, and it's going to feed all of those properties with an attribution link, and that's key, back to the original content source, completely white hat. It's the same thing as if you take an article or a blog post on your website and you go share it to your Google Plus account manually, and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest if you use Pinterest, and all of those, if you do it manually, it's the same thing. You're just using an application to automate it for you. There's nothing black hat about that. Okay? So yes, you're fine to do that for your clients. In fact, that's what my entire SEO business is built around, is that particular method.
Yeah, and also, sorry Bradley, but also think about the press release sites. Think about the newspapers. They are all the time curating content and linking back to another authority sites. So it's nothing bad on syndicating content, and even sometimes because if you check press releases sites, which are huge authority, they all have duplicate content, you could say, but they are not penalized. And you need to have that in mind, because it's kind of emulating what the big guys are doing. The press releases and the newspapers. That's what basically we're doing with IFTTT.
Especially with the branded accounts. Let's make that clear too, because the branded accounts is you're claiming that to be your content. You're not trying to hide your footprint, right? You're saying you're leaving a footprint intentionally. You're saying this is my content. I'm just posting it here too, and here as well, and here as well, because these are my branded accounts on these properties. Essentially, you're saying, like, on all of those properties, it's an extension of your brand, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's encouraged, in fact. So
it's like having your own army of social media managers and bloggers on under one account.
that's right. Okay, so Ken says, I have a contextual link in each post on my site that links to another post, siloing. I see that when the post is syndicated, the contextual links are in the article, which I expected. Does this pose a problem with the anchor text being hit with the Google Penguin algorithm? It can, Ken. It certainly can. That's why you got to be careful with that. Okay, that's why I talk more about using these for video SEO. Don't get me wrong. I use them for all my websites and clients' websites as well. But you have to be wary or aware of that. If you're doing internal links, which is where the power of this comes from. If you have your sets siloed properly, your sites siloed properly, like what Brian was asking about earlier, on page is tight, and I know Ken from the questions he asked that he knows what he's doing. So if you're interlinking, linking from within your supporting articles, your blog posts, to pages within the same silo, which is what you want to do, right? And it's syndicating out, and you've got your RSS feed set to full text instead of summary, then yes, those anchor text links will get syndicated. So that's why I recommend using brand links or very general links or naked URLs, which are just URL anchors. Okay, because you've got to be very careful about that. I would not use exact match anchors. Okay, and that's also part of the reason why, like, if you're going to be using tiered networks for blog syndication, then I would suggest that you use the summary only instead of the full text feed, so that you're not syndicating the links within the body of the content. You're just syndicating the links back to the post title itself, with the post title as the anchor text, and then the attribution link to the home page if you so choose. Right? Does that make sense? If you're going to be syndicating to tiered networks, if you're syndicating blog content to tiered networks, then I would suggest that you use summary instead of full text feed. Okay? But if you're just doing tier 1 to your branded network, then it's okay. You've just got to be wary of what your anchor text is. I would not go exact match. I would go broad, brand, or naked. That makes sense.
Cool. All right. Well, time for me to play Webinar Wrangler. Let's do one more, and then I think we got to wrap it up and get the link posted, and get the masterclass going.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Let's just see. I'm just wondering if you tried P1 Rank Me, and if you did, any opinion. Rainer asked that. Yeah, actually, I am testing it. Hernan and I are both testing P1 Rank Me. I think it's good for video SEO stuff. That's why I try. Well, Rainer, I'm in P1 Port Premium with you as well, so it's part of what I got that too, and I'm testing it, and I think Hernan is too, and it seems to be okay. It's too early to tell for me for the results. Hernan, have you seen any results yet?
No, yeah, it's early as well, but I like it for companion sites or on IFTTT YouTube accounts.
Yep.
Or YouTube networks. It works really well for companions because you end up posting, and you get a lot of diversity. So
a lot of additional.
Yeah, yeah, we can post some case studies. I was thinking on doing a case study on that, so we can probably have it ready for the next Hump Day Hangout or the other.
Yeah, Rainer, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm definitely testing it on a few of my companion sites as well that for video SEO stuff. So, okay, well, hey guys, we appreciate y'all being here. Missed a few questions, but not too many, so not bad. Guys, Masterclass starts in about 7 minutes, and I got to get the link posted. So I'm gonna wrap it up and just.
Yep, just a reminder, if you're listening and you're in the masterclass and you're wondering where to go, just give us 2 minutes. We're going to post the link inside the members area, so everyone should be sorted out. So go ahead and log in, and in a couple minutes, and you should see the link there.
Yeah, and like I said, guys, if you come in a few minutes late, don't sweat it. You'll get the recording. It should be up within 24 hours or so, roughly, after it's done. So we'll see you guys in the masterclass in just a few minutes, and the rest of you we'll see next week on Hump Day Hangouts. And by the way, you guys remember to ask questions in the communities of the groups as well, and we'll be happy to do what we can, okay? Thanks, guys, for the help.
Have a good one.